Good evening. It's 6:30 p.m. on Monday, May 17th, 2021, and I now call the Winton Woods City School District Board of Education meeting to order. During this meeting, we ask that all attendees wear masks at all times unless speaking. With that said, our first item on the agenda is to join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Seymour, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Birdie?
Present.
Dr. Cipollette?
Present.
Dr. Thompson?
Present.
Mr. McGowan? Mrs. Ruggles?
Present. Next item on the agenda is 2.0, District Honors, Recognitions, Gifts, and Introductions. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board. I'd like to call our first recipient for the Kiwanis Characters Key is Lindsay Morales Escalante. Here tonight? Out of the country. All right, warm place? Are they in a warm place, Ms. Stiles?
I think they're in Chicago.
Oh, no, I don't care about that. All right, skip, next, Kind of out of the country. next. That doesn't register anything. All right. So Lindsay, but she was actually selected because of her resourcefulness. So we'll make sure we get the award to her, okay? The next one, now this is the one that I think carries the most weight, integrity. The integrity goes to Khadija Saul. She here tonight?
She's on her way.
She's on her way. When she comes in, make sure we see her so we can recognize her. All right, the next one is perseverance. Winton Woods Elementary School, Sophia Hatchett. I knew that was you. When I looked, I said, that's a Sophia right there. So Sophia, go up to the podium. And we have a nice gift for you from the Kiwanis group. So Kiwanis member, tell a little bit about why you guys do this and how long you've been doing this, if you know. Yes.
I honestly don't know how long we've been doing this. I've been a member of the Green Hills Forest Park Club for 12 years. So it's been happening since I've been a member. And why do we do this? The Kiwanis motto is changing the world and children. But my motto is one child, one community, changing the world, one at a time. So congratulations.
Okay, Sophia. So your word is perseverance. That means you just never give up. You keep going no matter what. Family members here, mom and dad, who teaches you about keeping the perseverance? Which one? Oh, you don't know? All right, okay. All right.
Both.
Yeah, they do. So we appreciate you, and we wanted to recognize you tonight, and thank you for everything you do, and parents, thank you for sending your child to Winton Woods City Schools. Thank you. Ms. Jackson, can we do a quick photo with parents, please? So, parents. Fantastic. So the next group is the Kiwanis Student of the Month Awards, and we've been trying to catch these kids for a couple of months now. They have so many other commitments and so many other things that they do. But Kanina Darji, not here tonight? Okay, that was for the month of March. Ethan Hilliard, that's for the month of April. And Hosanna Ocheri. Very good. Hold it. So tell me, what grade are you in?
Sophomore.
Sophomore. Okay, sophomores always have to say something at the mic. So tell us a little bit about you and what you aspire to be.
I'm a sophomore. We all know that. I am really ambitious, and I want to become an orthopedic surgeon when I get older.
Wow, that would be amazing. Who did you bring tonight? All right, is it all right if she comes up for a picture?
Yes.
Now, Mom, I've seen you around.
Yes.
You're not a stranger. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay. Agnes Boateng, Usher Boateng, I'm the ESL teacher for the high school. Prior to that, I was an ESL tutor at the intermediate, so I've been a district for a while.
So I appreciate the teacher bringing her pupil, which is her child, to our district, and thank you very, very much. Tell me something great about your mom that you just think is inspiring.
It's her work ethic, really, and how she never gives up is something that really inspires me to keep on going when things get rough.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Mom. Thank you very, very much. We'll see you guys. I'm sure you'll be back for other awards because you're just a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Is Mr. Caleb Tubbs here? We're gonna find him. He's probably, there's another event. One of the things that we wanted to do with the school, and I just wanted to inform you of how we've orchestrated it. The school is so acoustically sound that there are 3 other events happening in the school right now that you can't hear, you can't see, and it doesn't affect the other things. We wanted to be a district where we could have multiple things happening at the same time in order to let the community know we're not just a one-stop shop. So there's basketball down the hall, there's senior reflection somewhere else in the auditorium, so you can't hear anything. That's good. That means we have to tell the architects thank you because the plan worked. All right. Ashley Johnson. She is a February's recipient of the month for the Skyline Athlete of the Month. This is what we're going to do. Miss Jordan, if you get me addresses, these kids are going to get these awards. I am going to go to their house, knock on their door, and eat breakfast, sit down and talk with them, and they're going to get these awards. And you know, it would be really good if we just took a caravan and everybody just knocked on their door, like the Publishers Clearinghouse. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. Amy Nightingale. That's a cool name. Amy is the March Skyline Student Athlete of the Month. Leisha Payne. Leisha Payne, is that the young lady that's going to Fisk on a full basketball scholarship? She's an academic honors student, and she's going on an athletic scholarship to Fisk University, Dr. Martin's alma mater. I'm sure she's very, very proud. Tried to get her to go to Kentucky State, but she says she wanted to go to Fisk first and then transfer to a better university later on. Okay. May. Delon Brown for May? Not here. Oh, yes. Delon, how are you, sir? We finally caught up with you. You are the May. No, this is your month. This is your first time. So you're the May Student Athlete of the Month.
Yes.
All right, what's your sport, sir?
Are you saying when is my score, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mom, are you your mom? Yes, I am. All right, Mom, why don't you go up and take a beautiful picture with us, okay? Thank you for showing up the first time. We didn't have to hunt you down. That's a beautiful picture. You might see that picture on a billboard on I-75 somewhere, so stay tuned. Mother and son, thank you. Now, I really don't mind when the students are so busy and they have so many other responsibilities like work, taking care of siblings, doing, housework and chores. But when my teachers, when I have to wait 3 months to find them, that's a problem. But we've been searching for you and we've hunted you down. And Miss Claire Kramer, she's February. Finally.
I was sick the last time, so my apologies for missing.
We appreciate you coming anyway. Ms. Kramer, would you tell a little bit about what you do and why you have such passion for Winton Woods City Schools?
I teach 4th grade math and science, and I have such a passion for Winton Woods City Schools because I have awesome students and awesome coworkers.
That's awesome. Who did you bring with you tonight?
Just myself.
Just yourself? All right. Anybody here from her school, the elementary school?
There we go.
Okay. Let's get an elementary school picture. So can we get a quick picture?
I didn't get the memo. I should have polka dots.
Oh, no, that's really cool.
That's special.
Yay! Thank you.
There's a new thing, and the board's going to fund this. The people who bring the most people get something special. So we'll do that at the next month's meeting. March, Miss Cherie Davidson. Oh, another one showed up.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you.
My allergy medicine's wearing off, so excuse my voice. I'm the music teacher for Primary South, K1 and 2. I've been here 8 years, I think. And it's just my tremendous pleasure to work in this district and be a small part of a best communities in music education. And I know that that's because of the support of the board and the community and the administration. But really, I just love the kids. I call them my kids. My friends are all confused because they're like, you mean your kids? I'm like, no, my kids, my Woods kids. I just love the students and the joy that music brings them. And it's been a pleasure working here.
You know what? We appreciate you, and we hope you have many, many more kids. Okay? All right? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
So who else came from South? Anyone?
My work wife.
Come on up. Come on up.
Oh, and my boss. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Thank
So you guys are actually second place because they brought a kid. They brought a kid with them. So you didn't have that feature. All right, for April, Miss Kelly Kennedy. Miss Kelly, oh. Mrs. Jordan, did we promise these people something? Because all the teachers showed up this time.
Good.
Yes, the mic.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I thought I was getting a pass. This is my 10th year being the ESL teacher at Primary North, which has been one of the best changes. I was teaching 1st grade, then moved to ESL, and it's just been a phenomenal experience for myself. I am so privileged to work with the students that I work with, and along with that, with their families as well. I work with a wonderful staff and my Mrs. Stiles. I think one of the coolest things about my job is that because it's K through 2nd grade, I see them as kindergartners and I see them again as 1st graders and 2nd graders, and they just, to see the growth that they make in those 3 years is just phenomenal.
And I think it's all
I'm very privileged.
based on the hard work and your dedication, so we appreciate it. Someone from your daughter? All right, come on up. And Ms. Stiles? Amazing. Thank you. For May, Mr. David Stevie? Oh, yes. I know Dr. Cupoletti and Mr. Birdie were, giving me the eye like, where are the men? So thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So tell us a little bit about you and why are you so committed to Winton Woods City Schools?
Well, this is my 20th year in education, my first at Winton Woods. I teach special ed and general ed. Special ed is something that is personal to me. I have special ed folks in my family. And so it's something that I love doing each and every day. Winton Woods High School too, one thing that's been great about them is just being my first year, they've been so supportive and just great to work with.
Fantastic, wonderful. Who came from the high school? Come on up. And is Ms. Bray here? Ms. Bray is the director of that department. So Ms. Bray, come on in. See, we have a new motto in the school. Everybody has somebody.
Thank you.
So is Miss Jane Weber here tonight? Jane Weber, come on. The Green Hills Forest Park Kiwanis Club donated $450 to purchase digital microscopes for the science department to assist with virtual live learning of cellular process. Additionally, the Kiwanis Club purchased the book Pendulum for each third grader valued at $1,200 and distributed the books at Winton Woods Elementary School on May 13th. The Board of Education thanks the Kiwanis Group for its generosity, continued commitment, and ongoing support of the district. It was a pleasure helping pass out the books with Mr. Holman and Mr. Pennycuff, and thank you very much. We really appreciate you. So on behalf of Winton Woods City Schools, thank you for everything that you do. You have been our partner for a long time, and we hope that this partnership lasts many, many years to come. Oh, and Ms. Weber, you donated the 30 coats. Wow, that was amazing. Tell us a little bit about you.
I've lived here all my life. I grew up in Green Hills, moved to Forest Park about 16 years ago. I'm very involved in a charity through the Catholic organization St. Vincent de Paul. So I have spent 26 years of my life doing neighbors, helping neighbors through Forest Park, Green Hills, and the need for coats seems to be such a big thing that I personally decided, you know what, I'm gonna go out and buy as many coats as I can get, and then I'm gonna just donate them to the kids because the kids need them. And I want every kid to have a new coat, not a used one. And that's just me.
Okay, so we're going to give you, first of all, we appreciate it tremendously, but we're going to give you the Superintendent Challenge. And however many coats you donate next year, I'll donate just as many. So that's what we're going to do.
I come from a family of 10, so just so you know, we went and did.
Well, let me go back. Hold on for a minute. For every coat, I think I might put a pair of gloves with it. What about that?
That sounds bad.
Okay. Woo! Thank you, Mr. B. Whoa. That made me nervous for a minute. You come from a family of 10. You should have told me that in the beginning.
Well, I didn't know you were offering anything.
Okay. I tell you what, I'm going to keep my challenge. You,
Okay.
for however many coats you donate, I will donate the same amount.
Okay.
All right. Very
Got
good.
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. The Winton Woods Board of Education expresses its sincere thanks to S&S Healthcare Strategies Unlimited for its donation of $1,200. The generous contribution will be used to purchase school supplies, which are greatly needed. So S&S, are you here tonight? Okay. SHP. SHP has designed thousands and thousands of buildings. They've been the leading architect on so many different properties, not just in Cincinnati, but all over the state, all over the country, and in parts of the world. What we saw last board meeting is they did something very unusual, where they donated all the power tools so the kids can work on their sing sets and work on their projects to make sure that the projects didn't have any flaws to them. And I'd like to thank them again because that was a very generous donation of $3,075.91. So when you see any of the gentlemen and ladies from SHP, thank them for their generous donation. I don't think this is one of their traditional things. They just have an unconditional love for Winton Woods. And Jeff Parker, what's that section that he always talks about living in, Mr. Denny? The C section? Okay, the C section. All right. I'm from the D section. No, I'm not, but I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm from the H section.
You're from the H section?
Yeah, I grew up in the H
Dr. Johnson?
I guess.
West Virginia didn't have sections, but I think it's okay. It's all right.
I grew up in a holler.
Okay.
H section.
So if you see Jeff Parker, thank him, give that guy a hug, because again, the love that they have for Winton Woods is second to none. We could have picked a variety of architects, but we fell in love with those guys from the beginning because everything they said they were going to do, they did. Correct, Mr. D? Okay, very good. So, Madam President.
We had someone show.
Kadita. Where is she?
Cotty.
Cotty, thank you. All right, come on up. Okay, who's the people who, wow. Okay, so where are her teachers? All right, come up with her. Get that photo. Where's Mom? Come on up for the photo, Mom. Now that's a big sister honor right there. They're just jumping in pictures now, folks. Absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Okay. Mrs. Jordan, no more Post-it notes? We're good? Okay, I think we hit a mark. For all of the recipients, for everything that you guys do for Winton Woods City Schools, we totally appreciate you. And thank you for giving our kids a lot of guidance, a lot of support. I know this has been a very, very tough year with working virtually, some cases going blue, going green, face-to-face, but you guys weathered the storm. And so we appreciate you very much, and thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And that brings us to agenda item 3.01, which is a recess. And at this time, we will take a 5-minute recess to allow our recognized guests to leave, but you're more than welcome to stay with us for the remainder of the meeting. So 5-minute recess. Welcome back to our Monday, May 17th meeting, 2021. The next item on the agenda is public comments. I don't have any public comments at this time. No? So we'll move right on to item number 5.01, comments from the Winton Woods Teachers Association. Ms. Baker, you please take the stand.
down. I can't see, otherwise I'd fall up. Good evening, Board and Mr. Smith. Good evening.
That's me. Sorry.
Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening on behalf of WWTA. While we are disappointed that the levy did not pass, as co-president, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all the teachers that took time out of their personal lives to support the levy by participating in the literature drops, honkin' waves, and other events. Reflecting back on this school year, this has truly been a year like none other experienced in recent history. Now this is year number 29 for me, so it truly has been an unusual year. We taught through a global pandemic and we learned new skill sets on the fly. Students were engaged in well-planned lessons and teachers adapted with little notice as we pivoted to each phase of the plan. Some changes were anticipated while others surprised us, but we hung in there. Parents, we would like to thank you for working with us during this strange year. We fought for your kids and you responded by showing us your support through all the ups and downs. You, like us, were thrown into uncharted territory and we are all better people for it. As the year is coming to a close, teachers are anxious about their jobs for next year and the beginning of the school year with an expired contract. Our negotiations team worked diligently to prepare for negotiations, and we stay hopeful that we will be able to engage in meaningful talks in the fall. No matter how exhausting this year has been, each day was still a great day to be a warrior. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. And we, too, as a board, also are very appreciative for everything that our teachers and our parents and everybody within the district pivoting to address these unprecedented times. So thank you. Item 5.02 is, do we have a representative from OPSI?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Bear with me, I'm just a little bit nervous. It's the first time I ever did this. Good evening, everyone. I am Leishiana Smith. I am over at the elementary building. I am OPIS secretary. I am here on behalf of our president, Shonda Gordon, who is dealing with some family illnesses, so she couldn't be here today. So I'm just here as far as representation for her and the membership of the OPSI squad, as I like to call us. That's it.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Gordon usually brings us snacks like candy and treats.
Okay.
But I don't see anything in your bag. Do you have anything to?
I passed it out during recess. You missed it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll invite you back next month if you bring treats.
Okay, just let me know, chocolate or candy?
Both, yes, ma'am.
I got you.
We're versatile here.
Okay, I will do.
Cash. He said cash.
I don't know about that. Hold on, wait, son. Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
One of the board members would like some cash, so I don't know who I will talk to about that.
Talk to the treasurer. He's right there.
Okay, I will get on that for you. I got you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And thank you for the snacks during the break. And maybe you can catch Mr. Smith up later and give him something later. So I got you. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is 6.01, which is the approval of minutes. Board, unless you have any necessary changes, the minutes will be submitted for audit. Is there anything that we need to hear? No. Okay, so can we get a motion to approve? It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie? Aye. Dr. Cupoletti? Aye. Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye. The next item on the agenda is 7.01, Treasurer's Recommendations. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, for the financial report for the month of April, the year-to-date revenues stand at $45.8 million in the general fund. The month-to-date revenues in the general fund were $2.6 million, which represented our final real estate settlement and state foundation payment. The year-to-date expenditures within the general fund were $42.6 million, which is currently approximately 7.6% under your projected budget, or the value of $4.2 million. All of our funds balances at the end of the month of April were approximately 42.6 million, of which, I'm sorry, 38.8 million, of which 19.8 million was in the general fund and 10.8 million left in the classroom facilities. And that's basically a summary of the month of April, unless you have any questions.
Board, are there any questions? Thank you, Mr. Seymour. With no objections being heard, let the financial statement for the month of April 2021 be submitted for audit. Next is 8.01, Treasurer's Recommendation. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, your investments for the month of April yield $30,882, of which $10,800 was the general fund and $20,100 in the building funds. And those interest rates ranged from a whopping 0.02 to 0.8%.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion is in order for the investment reports.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial statements as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Douglas?
Aye. The vote passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 8.02, the 5-year forecast. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, as we briefly reviewed a little bit at our work session, tonight you're approving the May 5-year forecast, of which the only basic thing that we're struggling with is what our state foundation is going to be. As you know, there's a lot of debate with House Bill 110 and the Cupp-Patterson or the fair funding formula as it's known. We have no concrete evidence yet of anything. The only thing that most of the treasurers across Ohio have been assured is that the governor's cuts will be reinstated and that the state foundation payments will be the same as we received in fiscal year 2019. So I updated the 5-year forecast to represent that. And also, you know that we had student success and wellness, and it's been shared with most of the finance people across the state that those funds are going to go away and be used to fund the new formula. But as you know, if those come back into the general fund, they'll be revenue and expenditure neutral. So I have not put student success and wellness revenues nor expenditures back into the 5-year forecast. You could put them both back in or leave them out, but they are revenue and expenditure neutral. And thus, your cash balance would still remain the same. I think that I left the expenditures are running pretty close on target, as I've shared with you. And so I've left the expenditures in the forecast stay the same until we close the year. So basically, this is an update to submit to the state for May, which is basically your 5-year forecast as you adopted it in September, with updated state foundation cuts put back in for future years. That's the only concrete thing I have at this time. As you know, the funding formula could bring additional dollars to Winton Woods if it's approved and funded as said. And they said any increase in state funding would be phased in over 8 years. Well, everybody knows that the state budget dies every 2 years. So we'll keep monitoring that, and I've been keeping an eye on that, and as you asked me to do, to keep you up to date even after you adopt this, any changes that could affect your fall forecast. So I will do that.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion is in order.
Make a motion to approve the 5-year forecast for fiscal years 2021 through 2025 as presented. I'll second.
Thank Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Mr. Birdie, I thought did you have something to say? Oh, I thought you said something earlier.
Sorry.
Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Aye.
Dr. Duplessis? Aye. Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye. The vote passes unanimously. The next items on the agenda, 9.01 through 2, are informational reports of the superintendent, and no action will be taken by vote. However, we will take time to ask questions at the end of Mr. Smith's report. So, Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board. One of the main activities or events will take place on May 20th at 7:30, and that's the graduation at Cintas Center. We want to make sure that everyone in the public understands it is a really big event simply because last year we had to go virtual, and the principal, along with the safety director, business manager, and myself, we made the decision that if we have some issues around COVID, that the CDC has given us guidelines saying it's safe, then we would have the graduation at Cintas, our traditional place, and we have met all the terms and conditions of the agreement. And if you look down, going down Winton, you will see all the ribbons displayed. I think that's a magnificent display, and so we're excited about that. 300 graduates again this year. So the principal and his team should be commended, and teachers for keeping things in place and making sure things worked out. The other thing, we had the prom several weeks ago, and we were very, very careful in calculating the numbers because COVID was still alive and well. And we are happy to say that we did not have a flare-up or an outbreak that would cause students not to participate in graduation because we counted those days very, very carefully to separate the two. And then the final one that's in line with COVID-19, Ms. Wilson's going to give you an overview of something that's coming up that I think it would be exciting for the board to hear about our future endeavors as it relates to a vaccination. Ms. Wilson.
All right, well, good evening. We have some exciting news. We just learned that our partners, Mercy Health, has approved a clinic on site at Waycross, 825 Waycross Road at the intermediate school this Wednesday for children 12 years and older. And so we are going to be offering the vaccine to them. It's the Pfizer Vaccine. The first dose will be on the 19th from 3:30 to 6:30, and the second dose will be June 9th from 1 to 6. The reason we're encouraging the seniors or the graduates, the candidates for graduation, not to participate in this clinic because we don't want them to risk having side effects or anything that would compromise their ability to participate in graduation. However, Mercy is going to work with us to get an alternative date for our graduates, or they can go to one of Mercy's Wednesday clinics that they're going to start offering every Wednesday. So we're working on that part. But the hope is that we can promote that herd immunity and community health by offering this vaccine to students before the end of school so that they can go into the summer, healthy and COVID-free, and then also to support our summer school efforts, because as you know, we have a robust summer school plan that we are hoping that this vaccination will help support as well. Let's see. So at the clinic on the 19th, Mercy will have 200 doses. There's going to be a sign-up genius, and we'll start promoting that if we haven't already. We're working on the communication with that. But there's a sign-up genius, but we will also take walk-ins. So if you walk in, it's on a first-come, first-served basis, and it's designed for students, but if you're with your parent and you want to get it, or if they're staff members who missed it, it's anyone that comes, but they're going to take the slots first. for the people that signed up. So look for a communication blitz between now and Wednesday from our communications team. And we're just really excited about this opportunity. Do you guys have any questions?
Do you know which vaccine it will be?
It's Pfizer.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why it's the 2 doses.
The 2 doses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it can go down to 12.
Yeah, we're really interested in the age range of 12 to 16. Some of our seniors are 17 years old, and we're hoping, we've already given information to Principal Martin. Mrs. Denny is going to send out information as well, that we're encouraging graduating seniors not to get the vaccine on the 19th because they graduate the next day. They have put themselves in a good position. They've withstood the storm of COVID-19. We don't want them to have a reaction the day of graduation and miss a great opportunity. So we'll have more correspondence later. So Ms. Wilson, you said that there's going to be 200 doses on Wednesday, and this is through Mercy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And is there another scheduled opportunity?
So there's a second dose that's scheduled for June 9th.
Okay.
And then we are still working with Mercy to offer additional opportunities for students. Our ambitious superintendent requested a opportunity midsummer for kids that aren't quite 12 but turn 12 over the summer, and then another opportunity for students, so for kids that maybe miss it or don't get the second dose right at the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
So
are there plans, the summer gets busy. So are there plans, okay, the student comes in on the 19th to get the first dose. Do we have plans to get our staff involved in helping them remember for the second dose?
Oh, yes. So one of the things that the executive team will be spearheading is phone calls to people that have participated in the first dose, reminding them to come back and get their second dose, because as we know, without the second dose, the effort is in vain. So we'll be doing a phone tree and kind of really encouraging people to come back and reminding people and trying to facilitate them getting back for that second dose.
Yeah, and then the last part, I know that you and Mrs. Bray have been facilitating and doing a lot of work around COVID, so thank you for taking on that additional responsibility, as I mentioned, like every meeting, because it's important. So our young ones have not received the vaccine, but many of our staff members. So can you give us just a general idea how we've done once we've received the vaccine, how adults are doing in our community?
Yes. So prior to the staff vaccination process that we went through, we had weekly meetings with our nurses. Every Wednesday, Mrs. Bray and I met weekly with our nurses, who have been absolutely wonderful, and we can't thank them enough, where we were literally going through all of these scenarios, quarantine scenarios. So once the vaccine was issued to staff, and I'm overstaffed and Mrs. Bray does students, I didn't have to go to those meetings. So we've had 1 or 2 cases of staff members. We've had a few cases of staff members, not 1 or 2, but a few, where they've been exposed to COVID. We've had 1 or 2 staff members that have actually gotten COVID since we've offered the vaccine. But none of the people that were affected did not actually take part in the vaccination. And I think now they're kind of kicking themselves for not doing so. So we're encouraging them, if they're outside of the window, to try to get the vaccine before next school year. But yeah, the staff rate of absenteeism because of this has just, it's diminished tremendously now. Mrs. Bray is still kind of busy, but not nearly as busy as we were, I'd say, prior to winter break. It was becoming overwhelming, truthfully, but we worked through it, and that vaccine really is working.
Well, I think the other thing, I think it's a true testament. We worry about our children when they're in school, but when we talk about this summer opportunity, Many of our kids don't need to attend summer school, or they won't attend summer school for a variety of reasons, but we are still concerned about their health and well-being. So extending this opportunity through past the summer, thank you for your contact with Lisa Sweeterman and Dr. Wilson to make this thing come alive, because we have to worry about our kids all year round, not just when they're on the campus of Winton Woods City Schools. So thank you very much.
Yes, and Mercy has been very easy to work with. So they have been great partners and great communicators.
Yeah, we couldn't have picked a better time to do this on a Wednesday, the last week of school, because kids get to stay home and go through their process. But I think the other part is that we have to be very diligent about is encouraging them to come back for the second dose. So all members of the executive team, as well as other staff members, will be part of that robocall, contacting parents, making sure you come out. Mrs. Denny's going to send out blitz information. Please come back for your second shot. We've made it very convenient. It's going to be at the intermediate school, right there, flat level, in and out, and no problems. So thank you very much. Okay.
Dr. Cupoletti.
I'm sorry.
Could you remind me of the arrangements for shots for graduating seniors?
So we are encouraging, or almost demanding, that if you are a candidate for graduation, do not attempt to get vaccinated on the 19th.
But
There
what
will
about
be
getting a shot? Do you have arrangements for them to get vaccinated?
Yes.
Yes. We are working with Mercy to get a date in early June for anyone, for any of our graduates that weren't able to participate. And Mercy has also said that, let's say in the event that they want to get it sooner than we can get it scheduled, Mercy offers walk-in clinics every Wednesday at their Mercy West campus. So you can go in without an appointment every Wednesday to the West campus and get a vaccination.
Thank you.
Yeah, any day, Dr. Cupoletti, I think that's an excellent question. Any day after May 20th. I'm sorry. Any day after May 20th.
Yes, thank you.
Because, again, we don't want to put a kid in a compromising situation.
Thank you.
All right.
So there's no restrictions of who can get it. The only reason why I asked that question is because I know Mercy's clinics at one point, like if you want to get a COVID test, you had to be a Mercy patient. So this is just open, and you don't have to be a Mercy patient.
Correct. This is part of their partnership with us. And I neglected to mention, students under 18 do have to bring a parent. So the parent has to be present if you're under 18. And we are also going to send out some pre-registration information to speed things up. So.
Yeah, and Mr. Denny and his team, they've already worked out the facilities layout for an easy flow. Since we've been part of the one at Hamilton County ESC, we kind of know what it should look like and make it very, very convenient for parents. Parents are used to coming to the intermediate school, picking up the lunches and the dinners, so we just said, let's just keep the same flow going. We've also committed to making sure that the second vaccine would actually be administered in the same place, same location, same everything.
And Mr. Day is thrilled. I tease him. I keep saying, Jeremy, can we throw a party in your building? But he has been absolutely wonderful. He's very easy to work with. But anytime we tell him we have a big event, he's like, okay, no problem. And he's always there till the end, helping us. So,
Yeah,
Mr. Day, thank you.
The hours have changed a little bit for the second dose. We wanted it to be closer to the time that students were being released from summer school, so the parents won't have to make 2 trips. They pick their kid up from summer school, they go in for the vaccine, and then they're on their way. We're also planning on doing follow-up calls to the parents after the vaccine, just to check to see how their children are doing. We're going to do a survey, and we're going to also do phone calls as well. This is part of our COVID protocol that we want to use.
And the process that you used for the staff was very well organized. It was very streamlined, in and out. I don't know how many board members went through the district, but I was very impressed with the process. We got information early and timely. We got reminders, so I'm sure that process is, going to work just fine this time too.
Right, we hope it'll be as smooth as that process. We'll see, these, with the
It
kids.
will be.
Yes.
It will be.
We're gonna claim it.
Claim
Yes,
it.
okay.
Mrs.
That's right.
Denny has agreed to any rambunctious screaming baby. She's got him. She'll take care of that kid. Thank you, Mrs. Denny.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Oh, Dr. Cupoletti has another
I have
question.
one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Speak in the mic.
Some of our graduates will likely be 18 years old. Will they also need to bring a parent?
Just 18 and, under 18.
Okay, I think that's an important clarification.
Get that out.
Minors need parents.
I think that's important to clarify to our students.
Good point.
Thank you, Dr. Cupoletti. Mr. Smith, you have the floor for 9.02.
9.02, this report is presented by Mr. Denny, Executive Director of Business Affairs, Facilities Update.
Thanks, Mr. Smith. It's okay to take the mask off.
That is okay,
I feel
sir.
like I ask every time. I just want
You
to
look
be sure.
happier without it.
I feel happier. Thanks again, Mr. Smith, and good evening, Board. Hope you're all doing well, and I appreciate the opportunity to just give a quick update on our facilities progress, on our major construction projects that are going on right now. Just a brief update on the 712, and then I'll spend probably the majority of the time just discussing the K-6 and the progress at the South Campus. But here at the North Campus, we're preparing for the abatement and demolition process to start, and that will begin May 25th. So the day after the last day with teachers, the abatement crews are going to go in and start removing hazardous materials from the buildings. That's the ballasts out of lights and bagging certain pipe elbows and things like that. So prepping the building to be ready for demolition. I think we'll probably see what they call a rolling wet demolition. So they're going to keep the dust down, they'll keep it wet, and they'll basically start where they abate, and they'll start there and then move and follow the abatement crews as they complete their work. Probably by, I'd say June 10, 12, somewhere in there, you may start seeing parts of the building come down. So that's the major marching orders right now, and also to clear out the building, salvage everything we can for our current and future operations as well, be good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. So that's the update on the North Campus. At the South Campus, I don't know if any of you have happened to be by there. It's the building's all in the ground. It's kind of amazing, and the landscape and the view is absolutely radically different. But that's the necessary step to be sure that we have the sidewalks and the drives, the stormwater structures, and the parking lots in place. So that work will begin shortly. There were approximately 40 trucks a day for a while taking material out. That's still continuing. Not sure if it's still quite at that pace and that scale, but it's a bittersweet thing to see that. But it is paving the way. That building served our students, our families, our staff, our community really well since it started construction in 1959. So it's been with our district a long time. It's done a great job. But it's now time to help transition onto our new building. So if anyone's available out there in our community, there are bricks available. They've been going like hotcakes. Our theory is somebody's building a garage somewhere because the bricks have been set outside the fence line, and they literally take a load out every other day or so. So it's nice to see people are participating and having a keepsake, because that's really important to some. And also there's glazed tile available, the little tiles that used to be in the front of the auditorium and the gym. Those are also available if people are interested. So hoping to have all the site work done by very close to the start of school. So it's a push, but barring weather, we should be able to get there at South Campus.
Hey, Mr. Denny, thank you. I'd like to personally thank you for putting the literature in the residents' hands that were close by, just to let them know that even though the buildings are here, we still had another phase. They may have more dust. And I think I just would have to say overall, the residents of Green Hills as well as Forest Park, they have been extremely accommodating. They knew that we were going to be doing a lot of work and a lot of loud noise and early mornings, and they've been very, very patient with the outcome. They've also been patient that, when you see these construction things taking place, you wonder if it's going to be as dynamic as people advertise, and they're coming back with a lot of positive conversations. I know Mrs. Denny has hosted a group of people and they've had a lot of positive conversations about what the buildings look like and how they're proud that it's in their community. So bravo, thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you saying that, Mr. Smith. I'd love to echo that. The residents have been great and very patient because it's been a process.
Yeah, and I think that they've been not picking up the bricks to use them on us later. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, any questions? No?
Oh, Mr. Denny, can you go back for a minute? I know you've been working with Human Resources, you've been working with Teaching and Learning, Ms. Bray, Dr. Martin, Dr. Ragland, about where we're going to house summer school and why.
Yes, it's a great question. So we would love to have our younger children at the South Campus. It's built for them. We'd love to have the older children, of course, at the North Campus, the campus we're currently at. However, the South Campus just isn't quite ready yet. And that site's very different than this site. This site has a lot of access. That site down there is, for lack of a better term, singular access, right? It's pretty much just off of Farragut.
And we wanted it to be like that just for safety reasons.
Absolutely. So that'll serve us well once the building is complete. And we will have an emergency exit as well. So that's, we'll be sure that that's part of the safety plan. But summer school at the South Campus is just not feasible right now for a variety of reasons. We're still working on the technology infrastructure. That's one piece. The driveway, as you can see, is great, but it's not totally complete. We need the top coat on that. It doesn't go anywhere right now, especially as demolition progresses. All that pavement will be gone. There's no place for the buses to drop off. There's no place for the buses to turn around. The other issue we had was parking. There's no parking right now. We probably could get 15 cars max, and we can't really line the driveway. That's really not where you're supposed to park. We're making do right now. So, and then we're about to move, as of June 7th, we'll be moving between 4,500 and 5,000 boxes into that building with a moving company. So all those issues in concert have just made it essentially impractical or not feasible to be able to host summer school at South Campus for the younger children. So we're going to make sure we have a very robust plan here at this campus to assist in kind of those developmental differences between children, when we should make sure we have the grades 1 through 6 kids on the middle school side and the grades 7 through 12 students on this side, the high school side. And we'll make sure we arrange for meals and busing and all that appropriately according to those same sorts of guidelines and approaches.
Yeah, the furniture has actually been our best friend.
Yes.
Because it can be, you can accommodate or manipulate the furniture for smaller children no matter what building we're in.
Yeah.
And I know Dr. Martin and Mr. Denny took a walkthrough and a layout of where the kids would be, how they would be facilitated. They've talked to the administrators. So we put everything in place. And the first day of summer school, we're probably going to have a large group of support people there just to reassure parents that this is where your child will be for this temporary time. But the other option was to put it in one of the old buildings. They're not air conditioned. And when you start talking about the air quality that we're talking about with COVID-19, we want it to be in the best facility possible. So it was a stretch. We wanted South, but we're not going to rush a process when we know it's not right. So North can accommodate everyone. The good thing about it, the building is 245,000 square feet, so we can put all the bodies here and make it work like it's supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing Dr. Martin was worried about was the extended time because kids will have breakfast here and lunch. And she was worried about the extended time of making sure they got a complete 4 hours of instruction. And so we've come up with this really clever thing where it's going to be a lunch and learn, where they're going to actually have access to information and technology where it gives them a precursor to the next day's lesson by TV, by film editing. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. So thank you, Doc. I think this is going to be a wonderful experience. We're actually modeling it after our own staff because a lot of our teachers have had lunch and learns. And so we might as well show kids what it could be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Denny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next items on the agenda are Superintendent's Recommendations and will be approved by vote, so a motion and second will be needed. That said, Mr. Smith, you can continue on.
Yes, personnel schedules. Madam President and Board, the first one is Schedule A, resignations. Schedule B, certificated appointments. Schedule C, support staff appointments, support staff requiring permits. Schedule D, personal employment, excuse me, and Schedule E, leaves. The recommendations to approve the personnel schedule as presented, A, B, C, D, and E.
Board, a motion is in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye. Mr. Smith, you can go ahead on 10.02.
Yes, Madam President. You heard from the Teacher Association President, Ms. Baker, mentioning that this has been a very difficult year for teachers and teacher assistants and anybody that works closely with children. There was an approval last month to increase the salary, the rate per hour for teachers to $34 an hour. And the recommendation is to approve the hourly rate for summer school assistants to receive an additional $4 an hour differential in compensation from June 1st through July 1st.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion is in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the hourly rate for the summer school teacher assistants to receive an additional $4 an hour differential in compensation from June the 1st, 2021 through July the 1st, 2021.
I'll second.
Thank you. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Mr. Smith, do you think it'd be appropriate for us to say that this is all being paid with ESSER funds?
Absolutely, that would be very appropriate.
Since we're paying differentials and increased rates, that all that is not being paid by our general fund.
Correct.
This is ESSER funds for response to COVID.
Yes.
To get the children caught up. I just thought we might want to
I think
know.
it's very important. Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye. The vote passes unanimously. Mr. Smith? 10.03.
Yeah, Mrs. Ruggles and Board, the one thing that I want to go back and touch on what Mr. Seymour mentioned, the $34 an hour is an ESSER fund opportunity as well. It's not paid from the general fund. So the $34 an hour per teacher, I want to go back and remember that is paid through ESSER as well for recovery.
Our entire summer school program.
Entire summer school program. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Finally, 10.03, resolution authorizing continued membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for 2021-2022. Please keep in mind, Board, that if the Board has no interest in continuing the membership, we would be able to play our regular season in every sport, but we would never be invited to a tournament, because that is something that the Ohio High School Athletic Association holds in their pocket. It's their tournament, we just participate. So I know some districts have been frustrated with the OHSAA for time to time and said, we're going to vote to not be part of it, but I wanted people to understand that you would be voting saying that you would not be part of a tournament, and we would never want to do that. So the recommendations to approve the resolution authorizing continued membership to the Ohio High School Athletic Association for 2021-2022 school year as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing continued membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 2021-2022 school year as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion?
Madam President, I guess you can do this after you vote on it, but someone probably needs to read what this resolution says.
Okay, do we have any takers that read it?
Guess I could read it.
Okay, Dr. Johnson?
Let me make it big enough for me to see here. The Board of Education governing board resolution authorizing the 2021-2022 membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Whereas Winton Woods City School District IRN number 44081 at 825 Waycross Road, Suite A, Hamilton County, Ohio, has satisfied all the requirements for the membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association, a voluntary unincorporated association, not-for-profit, and whereas the Board of Education Governing Board and its administration desire for the school with one or more grades at the 7 through 12 level under the jurisdiction to be volunteer members of the OHSAA. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education Governing Board that all schools listed on the reverse side of this card do hereby voluntarily renew membership in the OHSAA, and that in doing so, the Constitution, bylaws, regulations, and business rules of the OHSAA are hereby adopted by this board, and for its own minimum student-athlete eligibility requirements. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the board reserves the right to raise student-athlete eligibility standards as it deems appropriate for the schools and students under the jurisdiction, and be it further resolved that the schools under the board's jurisdiction agree to conduct their athletes program in accordance with the Constitution, bylaws, regulation, business rules, interpretations, and decisions of the OHSAA, and cooperate fully and timely with the Executive Director of the Office OHSAA and all members related to the interscholastic athletic program of the schools. Furthermore, the schools under the board's jurisdiction shall be the primary enforcers of the OHSAA constitutions, bylaws, regulations, business rules, and the interpretations and the rulings rendered by the Executive Director's Office. The administrative heads of these schools understand that failure to discharge the duty of primary enforcement may result in fines, removal from the tournaments, suspension from membership, and or other such penalties as prescribed in Bylaw 11. Date of resolution, May the 17th, 2021. And then there's a list of Winton Woods City Schools on the second page.
Yeah, and Dr. Johnson, the one thing that I think the now therefore be resolved by the Board of Education Governing Board, the last sentence is the most powerful one. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the board reserves the right to raise student-athlete eligibility standards as it deems appropriate for the schools and students under its jurisdiction. I think we're one of the few districts in the state that has a 2.5. And again, when we started talking about that years ago, people said not to do it because you would push your student-athletes out of competition. Actually, it's pushed them into getting more scholarships and opportunities. So, thank you.
More competitive academically. And Mr. Smith, would you share what is the state requirement for GPA?
If you had all Ds, that would qualify as a 1.0 and you could participate.
Thank you for your leadership in that. I do have a question, Mr. Seymour. What is, or Mr. Smith and Mr. Seymour, what's the cost of membership?
Mr. Seymour?
I believe it was $4,500 last year,
Okay.
but don't hold me to it. But right around there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, it has been motioned and seconded. Are there any more questions?
I just have one point I'd like to make is I think that, as Mr. Smith has stated when we first talked about raising the GPA, how everyone was saying, oh, it can't be done. If you do it, we're going to lose students. But what like he said is really true. They are students first, and we cannot keep that, we have to keep that in the front of our minds. They're athletes second. And it's good to have that higher GPA because they pass these clearinghouses now, whereas 1.0, you could be the best athlete in Ohio, in the United States, but 1.0 is not going to get you into a college. So I think that we have done our students a great service by raising that GPA, and they have, you know, come up and risen to the occasion. So I'm glad that this board and superintendent had the, the guts to do it, because we were being pushed not to do it. So just wanted to make that point.
Okay. Mr. Seymour, will you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye, the vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 11.01, and that is my report. And just to build upon what Mr. Seymour said earlier in talking about the Fair School Funding Plan to Patterson, that continues to be a conversation to try and get that approved so that we will know where we're going with funding. And there also is, the Senate continues their hearings on Senate Bill 145. It's a version of the report card reform legislation. And I know that there's been some work that's going on in Ohio with the urban network, with the boards of education, we've really done a lot of work in trying to push the state to come up with a fair report card. And there's also there's an area of financial literacy. The Senate passed a substitute version of Senate Bill 1, and a bill required that the study of financial literacy for high school students be equal to at least 1/2 unit of instruction. That bill also requires, beginning with 2023 through 24 school year, an educator license validation will be required for individuals teaching that class. And there is a reimbursement for the state that would not exceed $500 per educator. I really don't know how much the training is for that, but there is a reimbursement that's attached to the financial literacy courses. And that's all that I have for the legislative report. So the next item on the agenda is 11.02, which is the Great Oaks Career and Technical Report.
And we had our board meeting last Wednesday night, Great Oaks did. And I emailed out documents to everybody on the board, Mr. Smith, Mr. Seymour. Typical documents, the board highlights, Mr. Snyder's report to the board, and then some committee documents, as well as they got legislative updates related to the career tech side of things. And then we have our Spotlight on Student report, and we have 3 Winton Woods students who were highlighted in that report. Aaliyah Embry, who's in veterinary assisting at Scarlet Oaks. She received the Scarlet Citizenship Award. We have a Gustavo Gorostieto, who's in the auto refinishing program, and he has a job placement at Mako Collision. And then we have an Angelica Marroquin, who's in dental assisting, and she also received the Scarlet Citizenship Award. And they are going to full participation in board meetings with the July board meeting. So they'll discontinue the Zoom portion of it. We still have a number of board members who do participate by Zoom, but it's been dwindling over the last couple of months. But they're going to full participation for the July board meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Verdi. Next item on the agenda is board recommendations. Board, are there any motions or recommendations at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 13.01, which is comments from the Board of Education, Superintendent, and Treasurer. So we will start with Mr. Seymour.
No, thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Johnson?
Yes, I just want to say thank you again to all of our people in the community who support the district, and to the teachers who are so dedicated. And we're coming to close of the year, but they're going to still be working through the month of June. And just want to say thank you to them, and congratulations to all of our graduating seniors. The event that we had on Friday was a wonderful event where we honored we had 39, I believe, top scholars honors diplomas, and they will be wearing white. for graduation, which is just to have them stand out, to say that they are, they have accomplished an additional goal, not just graduating, but an additional goal of high honors. And I forget the exact amount. I wrote it down on my paper, but in the millions, how many scholarship dollars were earned by this graduating class. And that ceremony went on Friday evening, and it was a wonderful ceremony. I'm always, just amazed at just to see our students, and I can remember when I first was on the board, we had 16 top scholars, and they did not meet all of the requirements for the Ohio Department of Education for an honors diploma, but we have 39 this year, and I see that number growing because of the work that the directors of teaching and learning, along with the principals and assistant principals at the high school, where they have them looking at their credits from day one when they walk in. These are the requirements if you are on track to do this. And, it's just, as an educator, it's just so important when I see that, and I see that you put a standard there and the students will try to reach it. If there's no standard, then they're not going to reach for anything. So I just appreciate that, you're not afraid to push them, and they need to be pushed. That's how you get to the next level, is somebody has to be pushing you, and I just appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you one last time, or not one last time, but one more time, to those individuals that are responsible for that. So that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Cupoletti?
I'd just like to say I'm very proud of our students who have accomplished so much. The teachers and administrators who push them and help them. And I think our community should be very, very proud to have Winton Woods as their school district. And I can only hope that I can help educate our citizens in all of the ways that the district is important to helping our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cupoletti. Mr. Birdie?
Just real quickly, kind of echoing what Dr. Johnson said. It's been a difficult year this year, I'm sure, for everybody, parents, students, teachers, administration, you name it. Everybody's had challenges this year, and it's great to see the employees, the students, and everybody within the school district rising to the challenge and trying to do what they can to make things better for the community and these new buildings. The new buildings are great for the community. Happy to see it. Very proud these are here. Want to thank the administration for the partnership with Mercy too, to help move that vaccination program forward with the younger kids, because I think that's great. And outside of that, really looking forward to graduation. Friday night, the honors ceremony was great. It was great to attend and see all the students and the families that were there to recognize their children. And I know Mr. Martin asked, the parents to stand up, and then he asked the parents who had multiple kids come through as honors, students stand up as well. And there were quite a few of those. So it was a great evening. Enjoyed it a lot, and really looking forward to graduation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, Madam President and Board. When the community decides not to support you for one reason or another, I think they need to go back and reflect, because you don't have that many 39 students that stood up that were going to be honored for having state-approved honors diploma, not just a Winton Woods endorsement. And if you really wonder how well we're doing, count the flags, count the ribbons on the fence, and it'll tell you how we're doing. Because that's evidence. When you start talking about 300 graduates, that means something must be going right in the district to have that many kids go through successfully, and the millions of dollars that are being collected for scholarships. So again, people can give you a testimony about what doesn't happen, but the visual attributes are outside. And also, when you look at the graduates that are going to participate at the Cintas Center, that's the real story.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And I'll just sum it up in what everyone has said. I've been in the district since 2008. I've lived in the community longer than that, but my daughter started in 2008. And one of the things that I really wanted to see, a couple things that I really wanted to see, that I'm really glad to see that it is happening on a consistent basis, and that is an environment of academic excellence and shared accountability. When you're talking about the principal and the high school principal and the staff checking credits to make sure that, not only to make sure that students have the credit, but also to push them towards going higher, to saying, oh, you can get an honors diploma if you do these things. That's a different level of engagement with the students and helping them understand their path forward to excellence. And even with, you know, the partnerships that we have with Mercy, that we have with New Soul, with SHP, all of those partnerships really shows that level, that we're really taking it to another level of commitment, of shared accountability through academic excellence, and the environment. The environment, just seeing the students and the honors of the teachers, all of the teachers showed up. That was great. I don't think I've ever been in a board meeting where everyone showed up. And then to have the principal and the students, you know, that's really, I think that's, relationships are very important to me. So I really see the connectedness of a system working, instead of you have a silo over here, a silo, and nobody knows what one is doing. It is very intentional and strategic connections of the work that we do. So I want to say kudos to everyone in helping us get to an environment of academic excellence and shared accountability, and holding each other accountable for making sure that we're working towards one goal. And that's all that I have to say. And the next item on the agenda is a motion to go in an executive session, and there is not a need for an executive session, so we can go into 15.01, which is adjournment. And I just want to say thank you to everyone, our partners at Waycross, and that will bring our meeting to May 17th, 2021 to a close, and I will call it adjourned. Thank you. Be safe.